Yo, what is up guys, and welcome to a very special Honkai Star Rail video. 2 years of Honkai Star Rail. Man, what a journey it has been. And it's definitely had its ups and downs for sure. Penacony was by far my favorite, I guess you can call it, arc. Minus the banana arc with Rappa. I found that rather lame and boring. And Forest isn't as interesting to me either, unfortunately. I do, however, like the new region's landscape, along with the new looks of the enemies and mobs, along with the wildlife. Like that dinosaur-looking thing, looks pretty cool. But as far as the story goes, it drags out way too much compared to all the other story arcs, like Belobog, Delofo, and of course Penacony. I just could not keep up with Amforce's storyline. However, I am starting to get hyped up again for this game, due to the 2-year anniversary and the upcoming Caster's banner, and the potential upcoming Fate collab banner that might be a few months afterwards. So that spark and initial love for this game is starting to rise up again. It comes in phases. Sometimes there's just like dead periods in this game where there's really nothing to do unless you want to grind Simulate Universe for an eternity, which some people like to, but I currently don't have the time for that. But even with those dead periods, or I guess droughts of content, or just content that I'm not interested in, I don't really see myself quitting Honkai Star Rail anytime soon. That is unless the power creep really gets out of hand, and somehow the endgame content becomes unclearable, even with some of the best limited characters. But I don't really see that being too much of an issue. Hopefully. Alrighty, on to the next topic at hand. Since this is a free-to-play account overview, much like last year's video or account overview, I'll be going over my free-to-play status. Let's start off with the store. This is the Express Supply Pass, basically only $5. I've never bought it before, but if you are a light spender, I would definitely recommend it. As you can see, we don't have any of the premium currency that you get from this pass. There's nothing on Starlight Exchange or this. Contract Shop. I've never bought any of these packs, as you can see as well. And then as for the skin, we got it for free. That's why I have it owned. If you missed out on the event to get the free March 7th skin, unfortunately, that's going to cost you quite a bit of money. So rip you if you don't have that. Okay, I've been over this or gone over this last year in my video. So I'm going to play a clip of it here real quick. This refreshes every year. So it already refreshed once, so I guess I can't really prove that I never bought this in this current video. That's why I'm going to play a clip from last year's account overview. And here is the Honoric pouch, basically the top-up system. And as you can see here, I have the first-time top-up bonus for all of the purchases, which means I've never bought any. And the reason why I showed you the date for Sparkle's banner is because in patch 2.1, when we have the 1-year anniversary, this will actually refresh. So for the spenders out there, you can actually get the first time top-up bonus once again when you decide to top up. And if I had showed you guys the video after 2.1, then you guys would have said, oh, but it refreshed. So you might have spent in the game. Now with that clip being played, as well as the screen right now, as you can see, we have the double top-up bonus. That means I've never purchased any of these premium currencies. So there you go. And then there's just Stellar Jade. I guess the next thing we can do is go over our mail. This would be where you get your, daily free Stellar Jades if you were to buy the Express Pass, which I haven't. I also don't ever really delete my mail. It just expires on its own. I'm just frankly too lazy to even, there's some Twitch drops. Too lazy to even delete my mail. And sometimes I like to just read through the mail that I have. Unfortunately, we used to have that mail from the very beginning where we got Serval for free. I think that mail got deleted or it expired. The same with the Dr. Ratio mail. I don't see it here, so rip that. Alright, I guess the next way to prove my free-to-play status is through the Nameless Honor, or the Battle Pass for this game. As you can see, I haven't bought the Battle Pass. That's why the rewards at the bottom here have not been unlocked. And whenever you unlock it, there's 2 tiers, by the way. You will get a 4-star Lycone of your choice through this box. And I guess I'll go over my inventory later to show you I don't have a single copy of those Lycones or this box in my inventory. There's also these icons. I'm not going to go through my icons. If you guys don't believe that I never bought the Battle Pass before, I guess you can believe what you want. Okay, now on to my inventory. I'm not sure if there's anything you need to see here. I don't believe there is. This is just resources. Light cones, however, these are all my light cones that I have. As you can see, we only have one limited 5-star light cone, and that's Acheron's light cone. And the only reason I have this light cone is because I got so lucky on Acheron's banner. I pulled her first copy in 20 pulls, so then I decided to go for her light cone, and I got this within also 20 pulls as well. All in all, if you want to watch the video, I have it linked in the description below for my Acheron pulls. All in all, I got Acheron to E2 and her signature light cone within 110 pulls. So it was just complete luck and RNG. I know most FPs or just players in general will not have this kind of luck. So this is the one, I guess, outlier on this account and the only limited 5-star light cone. Besides maybe Castris, I do plan on trying to pull for her light cone when her banner comes out. But other than that, all the other 5-star light cones are either free to play or they are standard light cones that you can either buy or get from standard summons on the standard banner. This is where I guess the box for the light cone or the 4-star light cone on the battle pass would appear. And as you can see, it's not here at all. I do have a few of these trace material boxes, but you can get these for free from the Swarm Disaster trails or paths or something. I forgot the name of it. You can get it from that by completing the different paths, as well as the Orm Alley event that passed. But I think you can still get it even though the event has already ended. You can still do the event and get these boxes for free. As for if you guys are wondering why I have so many relic remains and fuel, especially the fuel I actually have been saving since last year. In fact, I'll post a screenshot of it probably. You can still see that I had I think it was 18 to 16 fuel from last year's account overview. And I haven't spent a single one of these fuels for whatever reason. It's just, I've been too lazy to do it because honestly, relic organization and inventory management is just a pain. And doing these runs will take a long time, but I will eventually burn all this fuel, probably for Castoris's materials or relics. So I'll probably make a video on that. But if you guys are wondering why I have 90 fuel, it's because I've been saving this for over a year, essentially. And it's funny, over a year, and we only collected up to 90 fuel. I was trying to get over 100 fuel so I can make a 100 fuel burning video, but I don't think we're going to even get there by the time Castris comes out, because you only get 6 or 8 fuel per battle pass, and occasionally you get them from the gift codes or something. As for the relic remains, yeah, I just been hoarding these for maybe not a year, probably half a year to 8 months. The last time I burned all these was in, I made a video about I burnt all these for Acheron's relics, which I'll probably do again, because honestly, my Acheron still can, her relics are good, maybe even great to some people, but it can still be min-maxed. There's a couple of pieces that are not rolled to my standard of level. Okay, next I'm going to go over all my characters. The ones that I've built more in detail and the ones that I haven't built, I'll probably just skim through real quick. Starting off with Acheron. She has been an absolute asset to this account ever since I pulled her during last year's anniversary. These are her current stats. I have her, this is for pure fiction, so I have her a little bit faster than normal at 135 speed. Of course, there's her signature Lyco at S1. These are her traces, mostly maxed out other than the basic. And these are her relics. As you can see, this one's pretty good, but this is only good for fast Acheron. This piece could use some improvement. It's usable and it's good enough, but honestly, I would hope for something a little bit better with attack percent instead of flat attack. This is missing crit rate, obviously, and then the attack boots that I normally run on her, it could have rolled better. And I don't really think it's worth using the dice because it only has 4 rolls. If it were a 5 roller, yes, I would definitely use the dice and try to get one more roll in the crit rate. So, as you can see, and of course this one. Oh my god, this one's a rip. I really wish it didn't brick this hard, but I don't really want to farm this world for this piece, so we're gonna have to use the relic remains to craft another one for her when the time comes when I make that video. The rope is good. I use either one of these depending on whether I need more crit rate or crit damage. And of course, she's at Eidolon too, like I explained earlier. Alright, moving on to Fugue. Absolutely love this character. Ting Young is one of my favorite characters ever since release, and obviously, a different variant of her is always welcomed. These are her stats. Her Lycone is the Sweaty Lycone, which, after 2 years, almost 2 years, I guess, still at S4, and it's my only copy. Feels bad. These are her traces. I'll probably put a little bit more work if I have the time and resources. Honestly, it's already good enough. You don't really need any points in her ultimate or basic. You could put some in her ultimate for maybe a little bit more chip damage. I might do this HP node because I do use her quite a bit in sustainless runs, so having as much bulk. And she happens to always be the squishiest one, probably because you'll see once I get to her relics, because I run a effect hit rate headpiece on her rather than a bulky stat piece. So these are her relics. As you can see, effect hit rate. That was HP or defense percent with high effect hit rate subs. That probably would be more optimal, but I currently don't have a piece for that. She doesn't have any Eidolons, so she's at Eidolon 0. Oh boy, on to Lady Fu Xuan. My one and only premium sustain, and I haven't pulled anyone since then. Honestly, she has done a great job keeping my team alive, except for probably the most recent Memory of Chaos. That one, she kind of exploded. But other than that, every other MOC or endgame content, she hasn't really run into any issues. The only time where she isn't really good at sustaining the team by herself is high levels of Simulated Universe, like Conundrum level 12. That's when she absolutely gets destroyed. So these are her stats. It changes depending on what type of build I put on her. Right now it looks like I'm running a moderate speed with a relatively bulky build. Lycone, I most of the time, especially if I pair her with ACHERON, put her on trend of the universal market. Otherwise, there are a few other options. I give her the Japard Lycone sometimes, and then sometimes I give her Day 1 in my new life for some more damage mitigation. These are her traces. Considering she's my only premium sustainer, 5-star sustainer, I should probably put more investment in her traces, like I've said a million times already. I don't know. I've been neglecting her traces by quite a bit. I'll probably get to it, depending on how difficult the endgame content becomes and whether or not she becomes completely unusable or less viable than she already is currently. I mean, I don't think she's not viable right now. It's just a lot of the endgame content, it just does so much AoE nuke damage that sometimes she's not even able to survive by herself. So maybe she would be able to survive with this extra 8% HP. Now, I doubt it, but we'll see. We'll see if there ever comes a new limited 5-star sustain that replaces her, then I won't regret not putting in the resources on her traces. Moving on to her relics. Nothing too amazing. I usually just give her whatever pieces have a lot of HP, some decent speed. And I usually run her on the Flee of the Ageless set, but right now I have her on Broken Keel because I just want the extra crit damage. I believe because I'm running her with like Sparkle and what's the other character? The Remembrance Trailblazer, who also wants the extra crit damage as well. Eidolons, she's at Eidolon 0. Alright, next is my newest limited 5-star character on this account, as of right now, Tribby. These are her stats. I am running a hyper fast Tribby, mostly because I'm comboing her with Fugue. I really love this combo where you have Fugue, a really fast Tribby, and then you pair her with Acheron and you get unlimited or a very fast generation of Crimson Knot stacks for Acheron. She almost does like no damage compared to the traditional Tribby where you build her slow with a lot of crit damage and HP. Definitely nowhere near as much damage, but she does provide more debuffs, and her ultimate uptime is definitely more often. She also advances forward the team due to Dance Dance Dance, which is her Lycone at S4. I have 2 copies, one at S4, one at S1. I need hopefully pull more copies of this so I can get to S5 and start working on my second dance. But yeah, she also allows the team to advance forward much more frequently with her high speed and ultimate uptime. These are her traces. Gotta max this out at some point, probably during the double drop event. And eventually I want to get this to around level 8 to level 10 if I ever decide to switch to a damage tribby, which I probably will. I'll probably eventually build a slow tribby with more damage and pair her with Casterus for that upcoming team that I plan on building. As for now though, these are her relics. Basically a two-piece speed set along with a energy regeneration set that allows her to advance forward and allows her to have higher ultimate uptime. Eidolon's, unfortunately, she's at E0. I can't afford to attempt for her E1 even though it is absolutely insane. I need to save these summons for Casterus. Alright, moving on, we have another Harmony character, Robin. I definitely don't regret pulling her, and she has definitely been very helpful when it comes to clearing a lot of the endgame content. Even though I only have really one team based around follow-up attack, and that's Fei Xiao, which we'll get to, she still works really well in dual DPS team comps. So definitely really happy that I pulled her, even though I believe I did have to hard pity her, which kind of sucks. Anyways, these are her stats. Need all the energy regeneration possible. Her Lycone is But the Battle Isn't Over at S1. I believe I have 2 of these copies. Yes, I believe I have 2 copies of this Lycone. So she usually takes one up, and then the other one is usually on Bronya or Sparkle, depending on who I'm using in the current situation. These are her traces. I actually still need to work on this. Max this out and probably give her a little bit more HP as well. Relics, very simple. Her relics aren't that really hard to farm. It's just basically any two-piece attack set you have that has decent speed subs or a lot of rolls into attack as well. And then I have her on a Fleet of the Ageless set right now, but I would like to move her to a energy regeneration set, preferably the Lushaka set, one of the newer sets, but I don't really want to farm that domain, so we might have to use some of those relic remains and craft those pieces for Robin. Eidolon, she's at Eidolon 0. Alright, next is our girl Firefly, and oh boy, she makes all the endgame content super easy. Maybe not so much the most recent endgame content, because Super Break is starting to fall off a little bit compared to before, but damn, her gameplay with the Super Break team is almost brain dead at times, I swear to god. She can just brute force pretty much anything. These are her stats. Obviously, as you can see, she's missing her Lycone because she shares a Lycone with Imbibitor Lunane, who currently has it. I use, what is the name of this Lycone? It's On the Fall of an Eon at S5. Yeah, so they share this Lycone. Obviously, there's one downside to this is I can't use them on 2 separate teams. So when I use Firefly, Lunane's going to have to take the bench. And whenever I feel like playing around with Lunane, Firefly has to take the bench. These are her traces, mostly maxed out, other than the basic. Relics, which are pretty much done. She could use a slightly better headpiece, I guess. Maybe one with break effect in the substats. I could not farm one well. Actually, I do have a piece that has break effect, as you can see. A lot of it, but it's missing speed. So depending on whether or not I want to run her really fast or a little bit slower with more break effect, I have to sacrifice one or the other. So her relics are not quote-unquote perfect, but they're pretty damn good as of right now. Eidolon, she's at Eidolon 2. Honestly, I regret it a little bit pulling for her E2 because I did not get lucky when it came to pulling for Firefly's E2. I actually had to spend quite a bit of Stellar Jades and pulls. I forgot how much it was, but I did lose a 50-50, and then one of the copies, I think I had to go to 160 for the pity. So all in all, it must have been over almost probably 300 summons in total, and that probably did leave a dent in my account. I mean, her E2 is absolutely diabolical. It changes her like Imbibitor Lunane, like ACHERON and Fei Xiao. It changes her into a completely different character. her playstyle completely changes, essentially. So, I don't know. I don't know if it was worth all those summons, but it did make a lot of the endgame content much easier. Okay, moving on to probably the most important character on any player's account, whether you're free to play, a whale, mid spender, I don't care. This is your main character, the Trailblazer. Currently, I have him on the Remembrance path, but whether it's Remembrance, Harmony, Preservation, maybe not so much the Destruction one, the one you get in the beginning. I guess it's good for early game, but all of his paths serve some use and purpose throughout your journey in Honkai Star Rail. I guess we'll go over his stats. I'm not going to go over every single path and their builds, as that will take up too much time. But all I have to say is, if you don't have your Trailblazer built up, you are seriously breaking your account. This character is so versatile and useful that every account needs to have him built. Doesn't matter what path you use him on, whether you want to use the Remembrance path, the Harmony path, or the Preservation path. They all have some purpose, no matter what part of the game you're in. As for his light cone, I have him on this one, on the Remembrance path. I guess we'll go over the other light cones that I use on him. When he's the Harmony Trailblazer, I either run him on Dance Dance Dance, or that Break light cone that Ruame has, this one right here, depending on what the team composition is. The Preservation Trailblazer I haven't used in a very long time, but sometimes I will pull him out in cases where I don't really need a heavy sustain for my ACHERON team. I can run him on, let me see, where's that light cone?
A few moments later.
Okay, I found it. It took a while. It's here. If I ever do run the Preservation Trailblazer, I would put him on this light cone here and pair him with ACHERON. That's the only use that I currently have for him. He had more uses during the early game as like a pseudo-sustainer or just a side tank. He can't solo sustain your team even during early game. The shields just aren't strong enough, but he does soak up a lot of damage with his taunt. Alright, these are his traces. Pretty much good for the most part. I don't think it needs any more investment unless I want to go really crazy with the ultimate damage here, which it does crit 100% due to his E6. These are his relics. I currently have him on a two-piece speed set. I eventually do want to move him to this hero set here, as it does make him deal a little bit more damage. It gives him the speed as well, so instead of 12% total speed, you'll get 6% speed whenever Mem is on the field. And then the crit damage to both him and Mem will overall boost his damage and your team's damage as well. And then I have him on a Broken Keel set. Eidolons, doesn't matter what path you have the Trailblazer on, you get all his Eidolon pieces for free. So there's no excuse to not have this character at E6 for any of the paths that you are currently running on him. Oh boy, and now we are on to Ruan-Mei, who arguably is one of my favorite characters in this game, both in design and gameplay. I would say she is probably top 3 when it comes to design. It's between Ruan-Mei. Su Sheng is one of my favorites as well, even though I don't use her a lot because, let's be real, Su Sheng's time as a character has passed. She is kind of a meme at this point, but I still like her design. She's a really goofy and funny character, also cute as well. It's between her, Su Sheng, and Ting Yong. Those are my top 3. Maybe ACHERON. Sometimes I'm feeling ACHERON, but that's because I've used ACHERON in almost all kinds of gameplay, and I've kind of gotten used to her as well. Anyways, Ruan-Mei is one of my favorites. These are her stats. One of the best characters I've ever pulled, and my god, my account would not be the same if I didn't have Ruan-Mei on my account. This is her Lycone, Memories of the Past. Sometimes I switch her to this Lycone, Meshing Cogs, for the additional energy regeneration. These two are pretty much a must. Occasionally, during some weird scenarios, I will put her on Dance Dance Dance, but she is not the best Dance 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 user, as her energy rotations without the help of these two light cones is kind of scuffed, to say the least. So it's mostly Memories of the Past and Meshing Cogs. And these are her traces. I have them pretty much maxed out. At some point, I will max this out as well. She is, like I said, one of my favorite characters, and it will be an absolute sin not to do so. These are her relics. I have her on a 4-piece watchmaker set. And a 2-piece energy regeneration set that advances her forward, which actually does solve some of her energy issues because she moves to the front, basic attacks, and then she has her ultimate at the first turn. Eidolon, she's unfortunately at Eidolon 0. I really wanted to pull for her E1, even though nowadays her E1 compared to other Harmony characters' E1s like Robin's and Tribby's is nowhere near as good. 20% defense reduction is nice and all, but I really wanted to pull it because, like I said, she is one of my favorite, if not my favorite, character in all of Honkai Star Rail. But when her rerun banner came around, I kind of I was summoning for Firefly at the time, and we did not get lucky, so I was pretty much damn broke. Did not have any summons for her E1. Very unfortunate. Alright, moving on, we have Kafka now, who I actually pulled on her rerun banner. I did not have the chance to pull for her on her initial banner, or even if I did have the chance, I believe I skipped her because I needed a different character on my account, and I wasn't really looking into a DOT team at the time. But I eventually pulled her on a rerun. Unfortunately, DOT is currently not at a good state. It's probably in its worst state since it's ever been. Anyways, I'm not going to go over her stats because she's currently not even geared properly. For her light cone, normally I would run her on this one here. Welt has it for whatever reason. Just going to give it back to Kafka. This one right here, Good Night Sleep Well, it is at S5. These are her traces, maxed out other than her talent, which honestly isn't really worth maxing because it's just a little bit of extra damage. And since we're not building her on crit, this extra like 12% damage isn't really going to matter. Most of her damage comes from her DOT and detonations of other teammates' DOTs. These are not her relics that I normally run on her, I swear. I was trying something different with crit Kafka. That's why these are her relics. Normally I run her on this set right here, the Prisoner's set. And then I don't think I had a dedicated set for her planar spheres. I just didn't have the time or didn't bother farming it out. Unfortunately, she's at Eidolon 0 as well. And of course, next we have her partner in crime, Black Swan. Basically, these two go together like peanut butter and jelly for a DOT team. I won't go over Black Swan's stats because I don't believe I've ever taken her gear off. So these are her stats. Her Lycone is Eyes of the Prey at S5. And then these are her traces. Maybe I can max this out, but pretty much like Kafka, the increased damage and the attack multiplier don't really make much of a difference. Honestly, it all comes from her DOT, which is on her talent. This is where the majority of her damage comes from. Maybe I'll max it one day, but currently with the state DOT is in right now, I don't really think it's worth it. These are her relics. These are actually the relics that I run on Black Swan, like I said. I don't think I've ever removed her relics once since I started building her. I actually do have a dedicated set, believe it or not, on her planar sphere. It's not the best in slot set, but it does work. And I happen to have just a wind damage boost and an attack rope for her, with a decent amount of effect hit rate and attack percent. So I guess it ended up being okay. Eidolons, she's at Eidolon 0. Alright, moving on to Fei Xiao, who is probably my strongest single target DPS character on my account, as well as my strongest wind element character as well. Let me go over her stats real quick. Actually, I probably shouldn't. I think she's currently not geared properly, because I had to steal some of her. She shares some gear with Lunane, so I had to steal some of her gear as well. But this is her Lycone cruising in the Stellar Sea. That is 5. Traces are mostly maxed out, other than the basic in this one defense node, as you can see here. Oh yeah, these are definitely not the relics that she used. There's a random musketeer piece right here. Usually I run her on a 4-piece Wind Soaring Valorous set. As you can see, that it's broken up right now. Let me see if I can... These are boots that I run on her, which are absolutely cracked. I probably should have saved this when I went to go over my Lunane. As for the planar spheres, I currently don't have a... I might have one. I might have a good piece. No, I don't think I have a good wind orb. Yeah, I'm missing a wind orb for this set. So instead of the best in slot Duran set, I'm running a Izumo set, which is fine. It's like her second best in slot except for the planar sphere, or set, because I run her usually with March 7th, so the effect will be activated regardless. Moving on to her Eidolons, she's at E0 unfortunately, and considering that I didn't have much luck with Firefly's banner, I was kind of reluctant to pull for her E2, which is she's another one of those characters that transforms into a completely different character at E2. I also think I full pitied her, so that was also another reason why I absolutely was not going to pull for her E2. Next is the Trickster Sparkle, and honestly, upon initially summoning her, she provided a lot of value, especially for my Imbibitor Lunane team. It just made playing Imbibitor Lunane a lot more comfy and more simple. Skill point management was an absolute pain without this character. But as time has passed on, and since Lunane has fallen from grace compared to any of the other top DPS characters, her usage isn't as needed anymore. I still run her occasionally with base speed ACHERON as... Actually, I do run her with base speed ACHERON quite a bit, because obviously if you run base speed DPS, you do need an advanced forward character, but I also have the option of Bronya, as ACHERON does not use as many skill points compared to someone like Lunane. And the thing is, Bronya's advanced forward is 100% versus Sparkle. Sometimes that 50% advanced forward just isn't enough to get you through that one cycle that you need to clear. So there are definitely a lot of downsides to Sparkle, but overall, if I had to weigh the positives and negatives, she's definitely have provided a lot of positive value to this account. These are her stats for now. I think I have her on some weird gear, because all the good crit damage speed gear is on my Remembrance Trailblazer right now, which I think I might use them to replace Sparkle on my ACHERON team, believe it or not. I think that might actually be a better, support than Sparkle, which is really sad, considering she is a limited 5-star Harmony character. Light Cone is between two Light Cones. She's either usually on Bronya's Light Cone, or she's on Dance Dance Dance. She's a pretty, she's decent. She's a decent Dance 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 user. Her energy rotations can be a little bit scuffed sometimes, compared to someone like either Ting Young or the Harmony Trailblazer. These are her traces, maxed out for the most part, other than the HP node. Yeah, I have her on the 4-piece Sacrodose. Usually, I believe I don't have enough. No, actually, I think I do. I do have good enough pieces for a 4-piece Sacrodose to get her to 160 speed, but these are not the pieces currently. As you can see, some of the pieces are being taken up by the Harmony Trailblazer. And the Broken Keel set is pretty much always a must on her planar spheres. Eidolon, she's at Eidolon 0. Oh boy. And we're finally here. We've made it to Seele. The very first 5-star limited character that I pulled on this account. Oh man, what a journey it has been. But unfortunately, I have to say, it is time for her to retire. I believe the last time I used her in even any sort of endgame content was in Pure Fiction, and that was only in the first couple of seasons when it wasn't nearly as difficult. She just can't really compare to any of the top DPS nowadays. I mean, it's to be fair, she was the very first limited 5-star character to be released, but I don't regret pulling her at all. She's provided so much value to this account, especially during the early game. So Seele, may you have a good long rest. I might bring you out occasionally, just to have some fun. I did enjoy the time we spent together during early game. Anyways, let me go over her stats real quick. Obviously, it's not optimized because she doesn't have her Light Cone. The Light Cone that I normally would put on her is on Facial, the Cruising in the Stellar Sea Light Cone, which was actually the very first 5-star Light Cone that I built up, by the way. These are her traces, pretty much maxed out, other than her basic attack. There are times where I actually do use Seele's basic attack, so honestly, I probably should have maxed this completely, but I decided to be a little bit stingy and not max it out, because she does skill the majority of the time. Sometimes you'll use the basic to either save a skill point or kill a mob that's literally about to die. Her relics have pretty much remained unchanged, and they're pretty solid. Like, compared to some of my premium 5-star characters nowadays, they're just absolutely insane. Like, this one has perfect rolls. This is perfect rolls as well, although I kind of wish one roll went into crit rate. so her crit rate wouldn't be as scuffed. She does rely on Fu Shren in order to have that 70% crit rate for that one Rutilant set. This one could have rolled better, but 3 into the crit and attack sub is already insane. And then these boots, if it had 1 crit rate roll, it would be perfect. But this is already insane with that amount of crit damage. Our Planar Sphere could be better, though. Yeah, this one definitely could be better. So can her Link Rope. It's missing crit damage. But other than that, I mean, for endgame relics, this is already pretty solid. Eidolon, she's at Eidolon 0. And here we go! We are at the first great shift to my account. The character that started it all. It completely changed my aspect of playing this game. Because before, Zile was my top DPS, right? Like I mentioned before. Once we got Imbibitor Lunane, especially the E2, the damage went through the roof. And even to this day, even though he is not nearly as strong as he used to be about a year and a half ago, I still use him occasionally. In fact, I used him most recently in my simulated universe for Golden Gear's Conundrum level 12 difficulty 5. Go check that video out if you haven't already. I still can use him in a lot of endgame content. Even if it's not simulated universe, I did use him also in the most recent MOC, even though his performance was subpar at best. Definitely still a viable character if geared properly and played right. Alright, let me go over his stats real quick. I usually love to run base speed Lunane with a advanced forward character like Sparkle, or recently I've been trying him out with the Remembrance Trailblazer, who also seems to work out really well as well. As mentioned before with Firefly, I share a light. He shares a light cone with Firefly, which is on the fall of an Eon. So whenever one or the other is being used, the other one has to take a seat. Traces, I believe he is the only character on my entire account where I have maxed out every single trace on his thing. When I first pulled him, I was like, I'm going to max invest everything into this character. And I definitely did that. These are his relics. His relics at first were absolutely terrible. I tried to get a 4-piece Musketeer set on him, but my Musketeer pieces honestly aren't that great. But ever since I switched him to a 2-piece Imaginary and 2-piece attack set, which in my opinion honestly isn't that much of a damage difference compared to a Musketeer. Some of these pieces, like this one, perfectly rolled, even though I had to grind that god-awful. This is probably the worst Cavern of Corrosion domain you can farm to this date right now. The fire set is absolute dog shit, and then this imaginary set, honestly, it's only good on a handful of characters, so it's not even worth farming. This one here, absolutely insane. Perfect rolls. This one, pretty good as well. And then this one, like I've mentioned before, this is probably the best pair of double crit attack percent boots I have on this account, and I will probably never get another pair this good that rolls this well ever again. To this day though, even to this day though, his planar sphere and link rope aren't the greatest. I don't know if I ever want to go back to, I might go back to this domain. It's still kind of worth it for the broken keel, and you never know, there might be characters in the future that still revolve around their basic and skill for damage. But I feel like this set is starting to, if not already, has fallen off compared to some of the other 2-piece planar sets you can have on your account. I might go back because, March 7th, which we'll go into, the Hunt version also uses this set really well. So maybe I'll just farm for both his planar sphere link rope along with March's. As for Eidolons, like I mentioned before, he is the very first character I attempted to pull for his Eidolon 2, and I sort of don't regret it, kind of. I didn't get really lucky. I did get lucky compared to the average player when it came to pulling for his E2. Definitely nowhere near as lucky as ACHERON, but nowhere near as painful as Firefly. So, I don't know. All in all, I would say I don't really regret it. His E2 gameplay is definitely really fun. Alrighty, and next we have the Chicken, Sushang. Probably my favorite character in terms of design. She's not very good and a little bit goofy, and when it comes to actually completing content, kind of hard to use as well, because she's a 4-star that has a kit that's clearly outdated. But I still bring her out occasionally. I even made a couple of meme videos clearing MOC back in the day when it was only 10 stages instead of the 12 now. Nowadays, if I try to use her in MOC, I'm pretty sure I'm not going to have a fun time. Anyways, I'm not going to go over her stats because currently she's not geared. Light Cone, whenever I do plan on using her, it's either cruising in the Stellar Sea, or I will eventually build up the Swords Play Light Cone, which for the longest time, I did not have at Super Imposition 5. I finally have it at S5 now. This is probably her best in slot, but it just makes building crit a little bit more difficult on her. These are her traces. I put quite a bit of investment. There's obviously still the attack node here, and then I can probably max out her talent as well. Other than that, for a 4-star that I almost rarely use nowadays, I definitely put in a lot of resources into her traces. Mostly because I love the character so much for her design. No relics. If I ever was to put relics on her, I probably would do some sort of weird crit / break effect set. And I probably actually run her in a break effect team or a super break team. I believe that's the most optimal and best way to play her currently in this meta. But for now, what does she even have here? Oh, it's a physical damage boost broken keel set. How did this roll? Actually rolled all right. That's pretty good. 3 crit rolls and then only 1 bad roll. Not bad. That's probably why I have it on her. As for Eidolons, she's at Eidolon 6. Speaking of which, her Eidolon 4's artwork... Oh, it actually minimizes here. Never mind. Anyways, her Eidolon 4's artwork is one of my favorite, if not my favorite, Eidolon art. That derpy Sushang face. I just can't get over it. It's so cute. Alright, it's time for the dog, Gallagher. I have to say, he is by far the best healer I have ever used on his account. Granted, I've only had one other healer, and that was Bailu. We'll go over Bailu once we get to her, but Gallagher by far is a super upgrade compared to Bailu. These are his stats, especially for a 4-star. He is just secretly a 5-star character. Absolutely insane that they made a 4-star healer this freaking good. Light Cone, it's between quid pro quo sometimes, or the majority of the time. If I run him on a team where the main DPS, for instance, like ACHERON, doesn't need the energy, I will run this Light Cone instead, which is gives energy regeneration and increases outgoing healing whenever he uses his ultimate. These are his traces. Could use a little bit more investment as well, but we'll see whenever we have the time to build him. Or finish building him. These are his relics. Most of the time it's a 2-piece speed set and a 2-piece break effect set. And depending on the team and content, he's either going to be on Broken Keel or the Forge set right here. Forge of the Kalapakanani. I don't know how to pronounce that, so we're not going to. Eidolons, he's at Eidolon 6. Honestly though, I have to say, if you don't have his Eidolons unlocked, he actually isn't nearly as good. Once you have all his Eidolons unlocked, or at least the major ones, he changes to basically a 5-star healer. Now, moving on to probably one of my most used and most valuable 4-star characters on this account to date. Maybe tied with Gallagher. These two are honestly the most used and useful 4-star characters I've ever used on my account. Anyways, Pela, by far the best debuffer in terms of a 4-star. I pair her very frequently with ACHERON, which is a team I used. Pela ACHERON is a very frequent and free-to-play friendly combo. So these are her stats. Her build changes occasionally. For her Light Cone, I usually have her on the Sweaty Light Cone that few currently has. But I believe I used not ACHERON, I used Pela on a different team. So that's why I currently have the tutorial mission Light Cone on her, for the extra hit rate and the energy regeneration. Traces, honestly, I'm just being stingy. This is free stats, and then this is more energy regeneration. It might actually, even though her energy or ultimate uptime is already really high, I feel like this would make it maybe even faster in certain scenarios. So I probably should put more points into this. The ultimate, I mean, it's 1% defense break. I don't know if that's really worth it. It's like 1% defense break. Maybe 2 at level 10, but nah, it is what it is. Sets, honestly, as long as you have one 2-piece speed set and you get her to whatever speed break point you need her to be at, her relics are really easy. That's another thing. She doesn't need insane relics. You just need a little bit of effect hit rate, enough speed, and you're good to go. Some decent bulk. Very easy to build. And of course, she's at Eidolon 6, although her Eidolons are not nearly as important as someone like Gallagher. So you can have an E0 Pela and she'll still work fairly well. Oh, Ting Young, that moment your neck snapped and I thought I lost you forever. But then you came back as Fugue, so everything's all good. Probably my second favorite character in terms of design. Also one of the very first 4-star characters that I got on this account. Let me go over her stats real quick. Unfortunately, I still use her, mostly on Imbibitor Lunane's team, but I'm starting to notice that maybe it might be even better just to run Remembrance Trailblazer in her place, as the attack buff isn't nearly as significant as the crit damage buff, as well as the true damage. It's mostly the true damage buff that matters the most when it comes to the support that the Remembrance Trailblazer has. He also has an advance forward, so that's like another way of allowing Lunane to take more turns. She has the energy regeneration, but I feel like with the extra turns, Lunane himself will probably make up for the lack of energy regeneration that Ting Young provides. The only downside of losing Ting Young to that team, however, is the loss of a Dance 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 user, which she is a very good Dance 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 user. Sometimes I give her the one at a higher superimposition level. Other times I give her the one at S1. It depends on what team comp I'm using and what's available. But those are pretty much the only Lycones I run on her is Dance Dance Dance. She's a really good Dance 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 user. These are her traces. I actually maxed them out not too long ago because I love this character. Like I said, she's one of my favorites. Now looking back and seeing that I may or may not use her as often as I used to, might have been a mistake, but oh well. Happens sometimes. Relics, she now has a best in slot set in the form of Sacerdos 4-piece. Before I had her on Musketeer, I actually have a lot of Musketeer pieces for her, which is unfortunate. It's probably still an option, but the Sacerdos is just so good. That extra, what do you call it? 36% crit damage that can stack with another character. If you have 2 characters or even 3 on the Sacerdos, it all stacks. So, absolutely best in slot set for her. And she's normally on Broken Keel as her planar sphere set. Eidolons, it's funny because I did not get her E6 until very recently when I got a free copy from, I think it's that Chimera event where you could get a copy of Ting Young. It might have been the one before that, but either way, definitely did not have E6 Ting Young for the majority of my Honkai Star Rail account. Okay, on to Bronya, who actually did not appear on my account until I reached the 300 pity selector on the standard banner. Yes, I had to do 300 summons to finally get Bronya on this account, which really sucked. Imagine playing Honkai Star Rail the initial first year without having Bronya, the best Harmony character at the time, on your account, and I still managed to clear all the endgame content somehow. I don't currently have her geared, so obviously her Lycone, her signature Lycone is what I would use on her. These are her traces. Relics would usually be a double 2-piece speed set or the Sacerdos set with a Broken Keel set. But like I said, it's being used on the Remembrance Trailblazer at the moment. Moving on to her Eidolons, she's at E3. It's funny. She didn't want to show up a single time the first year I played the game until I pulled her, or not pulled her, I selected her from the 300 selector from the standard banner. And then after that, she shows up 3 times, either through the standard banner or me losing the 50-50 on a limited banner. Funny how the game likes to troll you, or funny how Bronya likes to troll me. Alrighty, on to Himeko, who I initially didn't really want to build up or use until Pure Fiction came out, and then I realized she has a purpose now. She's actually amazing in that game mode. And paired along with someone like Fugue and Ruan Mei, who have add additional break efficiency and break damage, she just becomes an absolute monster. Actually, you can pair up with Firefly too, who just implants the fire weakness, and then, as you saw in some of my pure fiction videos, she just goes off like a machine gun. Just all that follow-up attack. Non-stop. So, pretty happy that I got her on my account eventually. I forgot when I got her. I think I actually got her on Firefly's banner, believe it or not. I lost the 50-50, and she was the only other 5-star character, standard 5-star character besides, I believe, Clara, that I didn't have. And I lost the 50-50 and I pulled her. So I guess it ended up being alright. Anyways, these are her stats. I'm currently running a base speed Himiko. I believe I run her in pure fiction as well. Yeah, I was running her in pure fiction. Lycone is the seriousness of breakfast as 5. This is the very first erudition Lycone I built up, and I think the only erudition Lycone that I've built up. Let me check. No. This one's not fully built, but this is the free Serval Lycone that you got in the beginning. I put a couple of levels into it, but then soon after I realized this one is better for overall damage, so I ended up maxing this one out, and I actually used it on my Serval for a fairly long time, I believe. Obviously, I think the best Lycone, especially for pure fiction on her, would be the free Lycone you can get from the Simulated Universe shop, but I haven't built it or bought it yet, so maybe one day I'll eventually build it and put it on Himiko for pure fiction, but for now, she's just going to have to settle for the breakfast Lycone. These are her traces. Definitely needs more work for the ultimate. Maybe the skill, but that's min-maxing at this point. These are our relics. 2-piece Musketeer. I don't have good enough pieces to form the 4-piece Ash Blazing Grand Duke set, which is the best in slot for her. So, this is what I currently have. This Duran set is... The Duran pieces I have on her are actually insane. They rolled really well. Yeah, especially this one here. Unfortunately, I don't really have another partner that does follow-up attacks other than if I want to pair Tribby, maybe? Actually, I could do that. Yeah, Tribby would work. March 7th and Fei Xiao usually don't pair well with her. So for now, it's currently only Tribby. If I ever built Ice Herta, the 4-star Herta, on my account, then this set will go absolutely crazy in pure fiction, which I probably should at some point. Eidolon's is at 0. I haven't pulled a copy of her yet, but ideally I would love a couple of copies of Himiko. Just not unlimited banners, please. Don't make me lose the 50-50. Alright, next is Shepard, another 5-star sustainer that I use occasionally. For his Lycone, I sometimes run him on his signature. Other times when I pair him with ACHERON, much like Fuchuan, I run him on this Lycone here, the Trina Universal Market, for the extra burns. Also, I forgot to go over his stats, so let me do that real quick. These are his traces. I'm holding out on putting more investment. I know there's a defense and effect resist node here. That's really useful. But I feel like at some point, he might be completely obsolete, especially if I ever do plan on pulling a second 5-star premium preservation character that's limited. Something like Aventurine, I guess. I skipped out on Aventurine, but you never know, there might be like someone that's even better than Aventurine that comes out that I decide to pull for. So, trying to save on resources for that. These are his relics. 2-piece speed, 2-piece defense. As you can notice here, I put a lot of trash symbols, or I marked a lot of these pieces as trash. I feel like they've just outlived their purpose. Forcing this 4-piece Knight of the Purity Palace set honestly isn't nearly worth it. His base speed is really low, so having him on a 2-piece speed set I think outweighs the need for him to have stronger shields. His shields are already strong enough, for the most part, for most endgame contents at this point. As for his Eidolons, he's at Eidolon 2. I probably don't want to pull any more copies of him. Oh, Silver Wolf. I was initially so hyped when I pulled this character, and honestly, I got some decent use out of her, for the most part. But nowadays, especially with the current meta being mostly revolved around AoE, there's almost never a situation nowadays where I use her. There's just no single target, like 1 or 2 target boss situations anymore. Everything's usually at least 3 targets or more. So, Silver Wolf, unfortunately, I don't use her that much anymore. But usually I run her on the tutorial Lycone. Occasionally, the, what do you call it? The sweaty Lycone, but the tutorial Lycone makes her a lot easier to build due to her needing a lot of effect hit rate. Relics, I don't have anything really important equipped on her. Eidolons, she's at Eidolon 0. On to Welt. I actually initially had a lot of trouble using this character. He's quite difficult to use properly, and I even basically gave up trying to use him. But I did find some success pairing him with ACHERON against certain enemies that are weak to imaginary, as well as maybe putting him on a team, a sustainless team, with him, ACHERON, and Ruan Mei for the additional weakness delay. You can do sustainless or sustain Welt, essentially, on that team. It's very difficult to pull off and requires a lot of planning, but I have done it before, and I've seen some success from Welt. So definitely don't skimp out on him. He's pretty good. Lycones, I usually run him on the Sweat Lycone. I believe that's the best in slot for him currently that I have for out of all the other Nihility Lycones I have. I could meme and give him Acheron's Lycone, but then I don't know what I would put on Acheron, so let's not do that. These are his traces. Could use more investment. Still missing quite a bit in terms of stats and abilities. Relics, this is not what he uses normally. Normally, I would run him either on a 2-piece speed to make him as fast as possible, or if I were to plan on building him as a sub DPS, I would either run a 4-piece one of these, or a mix between a 2-piece of this and the... I don't think I have really good imaginary pieces for him, because all these pieces don't have any speed. And he also needs effect hit rate, and sometimes break effect, depending if you want him to push the enemy back more than you like. So yeah, those are his relics. As for his Eidolons, he's at Eidolon 2. I actually don't mind pulling more copies of Welt. Just please, not unlimited banners. Don't want to lose that coin flip. Alright, looking at the recording right now, I think this video might already be too long than it already needs to be, so I'm going to skim through the rest of these characters. Serval, the very first Erudition character I built up, I almost don't use her anymore nowadays, unfortunately. She's at E1, and I got her E1 most recently, actually. Now remember, it is from the Chimera event, and I've never pulled a single copy of her ever since then, in the last 2 years. Kind of insane. The original Dan Hung, and also the very first DPS character I ever built on this account. He served me a lot during early game and helped me actually clear. Yes, I actually cleared the Memory of Chaos, not 12, but back in the day when it was 10, with this character along with Zealot. As far as Eidolons, he wasn't at Eidolon 6 back then. He was like Eidolon 2 or 3. Now he's at E6, obviously, after pulling him from all the other banners. I will go into more detail for March 7th. Actually, I should probably star her up, considering I use her quite often, especially with Face Out, and she's a really good 4-star character. These are her stats. Actually, I don't think she's geared, because she shares the same gear with Lunane, so just keep that in mind. The gear that I used on Lunane is the same gear I use on her. Lycone, only silence remains. This is the very first hunt Lycone, besides cruising in the Stellar Sea that I built up. I used this on my Dan Hung, actually, and now it's being passed on to my March. I think I did not want to enhance. I think the best Lycone for March is actually either this one, but Fei Xiao uses it, so probably Swords Blade as an alternative. These are our traces, mostly maxed out. Like I said, she shares the same relics as Lunane, so these are probably not the right relics. Eidolon, she's at Eidolon 6. You get them for free. Next is Bailu. First thing I have to say is, thank you, Bailu. Although I basically don't use you anymore because there are better healers and sustainers, you kept my team alive, and in fact, you were my most used character during the first year of Honkai Star Rail. So thank you very much, Bailu. You've served your purpose. When Casterus comes out, I might try you out, as I feel like she might need a lot of healing on that team. So Bailu might see a resurgence, and she also scales off HP, but I don't know. Either way, don't use Bailu that often anymore, but she was my very first healer other than Natasha, and she definitely helped me clear a lot of the endgame content. These are our traces. No Eidolons, thankfully. Also, another thanks to Natasha as the very first healer, I believe, that you get for free in this game. Not really good, but she got the job done when it came to early game. Traces, she's at E6. As for Asta, I really wanted to use her, and I built her up, but turns out there's just too many options when it comes to supports and Harmony characters. So unfortunately, much like some of the other characters, she's just permanently retired, even at E6, which is when I decided to build her up. Alright, the rest of these characters are unbuilt and most likely will not be built in the near future. Some of them I might build just to try out and meme a bit. Probably not Chingtre, although there was a time I did want to do like a gambling team with Chingtre. I'll pass on that. Clara I might actually build up at some point, because I feel like there's some content, especially in Simulator Universe, you can do a lot of funny stuff with the counterattack mechanic that she has. So she might be one character I put some investment and time into. Yangqing can be Yangqing. I'm not gonna say anything bad about Yangqing because it might offend some people, but whatever. Dr. Ratio, unfortunately, if I had known we were gonna get this character for free, I wouldn't have pulled for E2 and Imbibitor Lunane, and I would have just built Dr. Ratio instead. But since I have E2 and Imbibitor Lunane and Fei Xiao, I don't really see a point in building him up other than he looks cool. Hanya, unfortunately, is waifu, but there's just better harmony options out there nowadays. Same with Luca, just better DOT partners out there for Kafka and Black Swan, and DOT being in a pretty bad spot right now. I might build up Gui Naifeng just because she's like Su Sheng's bestie. And do I have her at E6? I do have her at E6 now, so might be something I look into building, but for now, I'll probably skip. I don't like Hook, and we're not going to build her. I don't like Misha, and we're not going to build him. 4-star Herta, I probably have to build at some point, as she is so good in pure fiction and pairs so well. Also, I never knew she did that weird animation, like that dancing animation, Jesus Christ. But she pairs so well with Himiko, so at some point, I probably need to build her, even though I don't really want to. Matse, I don't care how you pronounce his name. He is a really good partner for Fei Xiao, but I prefer just to use March 7th, who I already have built up, so I'll pass on him. I'm going to pass on Arlen as well. I'm good. At some point, I was going to build up Sampo and use him on a DOT team, just because I find him hilarious as a character. But at this point, I probably shouldn't waste my time with him. Look at him counting the money. I can't get enough Sampo. He's just really cool. He's just a really, really cool character design. Xue Yi with Castris coming out, and I mean, I have Zile as well, but I don't really use Zile, so if I don't really use Zile, odds are Xue Yi's probably not going to provide much value to my account. Lynx, compared to some of the other premium healers that are available, and the ones that I have, I'm going to pass on her as well. And finally, we're almost done, Jesus Christ, is Yukong. Absolute waifu. At one point, I wanted to build her up and put her with Imbibitor Lunane. I believe that's pretty much, unless you have like any imaginary character, you can pair Yukong with and run her with that one light cone. It's called like Planetary Rendezvous, I believe. But anyways, I was planning, she also has a trace that buffs up imaginary, yeah, this one right here, that buffs up the damage of all imaginary characters. But I mean, I wanted to build her up. She's at E6. Probably not worth it. She's just at E6 she's easier to use, but just the hassle of building her and playing her in specific teams probably isn't worth it. If I really get bored, I probably will do it someday, or if I have the extra resources. But for now, sorry Yukong, we're gonna have to pass on you. Alright, I'm gonna quickly go over a couple more things and then I'm gonna end off the video, as this recording has turned out to be dragging out much longer than I'd like. This is my endgame progression for Memory of Chaos, Pure Fiction, and Apocalyptic Shadow. I have yet to not be able to complete any of them at a 3-star for the last or most difficult stage yet. If that ever changes in the future, I'm probably going to be done with this game. Next is Simulator Universe. I'm just going to quickly go over what I've unlocked and completed. Storm Disaster, I finally 100%ed this. It took me so long. It's not this one. This one here, the Commuting Trail. For whatever reason, the Hunt Path, there's like only a couple of selections that you can make. So you have to do this 20 times to unlock it, and frankly, it took way too much grinding than I like to do it, and the rewards weren't even really worth it. So that kind of sucked. To be fair though, this is the game mode that I've played the most and spent the most hours in. When it first came out, I would spend like almost the entire day playing this game mode. I absolutely loved it. But nowadays, the amount of passion or drive to do this, or time, basically. I can't do it anymore. Okay, so this is Golden Gears. Dice unlocked. I guess I'll go over the dice customization. Some of these I haven't cleared at like difficulties higher than number 5, which frankly isn't that hard. Network is completely filled out. And then these are all the choices you can make. Completed all of it as well. Gameplay rewards. The regular ones, the tests with all the Stellar Jades I've completed. Conundrum. The elementary one I've completed, but I only recently made a video too. Completed Conundrum level 12. So you don't need to do it at 12, you just need to do it at 10 or higher, but I haven't gotten around to doing these yet. It's just a couple of relic remains, which I definitely have plenty of. But I'll probably still do this at some point, whenever I have the time, or feel like it. Now on to the newest Simulated Universe, Unknowable Domain. I have not played much of this compared to the other ones, but I did complete it. Actually, did I complete it? I haven't done this yet. This mundane, I forgot what it was called. But I haven't done any of these stages yet. They have a one-time clear thing with rewards. I haven't attempted it yet. Let's go back here. Yeah, this is my progression so far. I'm still missing some Stellar Jades, so I should probably get to doing that. It's more summons for me as well. This is like the tree for this stage, or for this Simulated Universe. I have it fully unlocked, however. Honestly, I'm not a big fan of this version of Simulated Universe. I just don't like the scepters. I feel like they're a little bit too complicated, and there's just so much revolving around this. In fact, if I had to choose of the 3 Simulated Universes that I've enjoyed the most, it'd probably be Golden Gears. It's complicated enough with all the different dice sets that you can use, and I feel like it's just the right amount of difficulty for me to enjoy. As for this, this is a little bit too much, in my opinion. I currently am only at Conundrum level 4. At some point when I get to Conundrum level 6, I'll probably make a video on it, but for now, we haven't done that yet. This is called a Mundanite Assembly. We have to probably clear this first. I believe there's even like a reward for it. I think it's this one. Yeah, I have to clear it a total of 6 times to get some Stellar Jade. So, still got to work on this. Not fully complete. I'll get to it whenever I have the time. Alright guys, well that's going to be it for this Honkai Star Rail video. I'll see you guys next time, hopefully for next year's account overview, if I'm still playing this game, of course. Until then, take care, and peace.